And I am late. Holy crap. I don't think I've ever been late to start a show before. Lost track of time. Oh, well. These things happen. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Monday Night Chill Stream. What did I do yesterday? I went to Bedford, Massachusetts. Then I went to Virginia on Saturday. So keeping busy. So that's pretty good. Um, and what else? What did I do today? Today I did half the things I wanted to do. What did I end up doing? I ended up buying a $15 radar detector from Facebook because they keep moving the speed traps on in Maryland. So, and there's been so many nights I've been driving it's nighttime in the rain, and then all of a sudden I see the cop on the side of the road at the last second, and I'm spooking myself. So I said I should buy a radar detector, but except I'm trying to be a cheapo, so I went on Facebook Marketplace and I bought one for $15 from a guy in Colts Neck, New Jersey. Colts Neck is old millionaires. The dude had a fucking $1 million house, and he was selling this 1990s Radio Shack radar detector for $15, which was in perfect working order in the box. And so whatever, I bought that night. And now I have a new toy to play with, something to go beep when the cops are around. Anyway, sorry for being late, but these things happen. You know what I mean? There are so many disappointments in life that I don't know where to start. Where could we possibly start? One of my favorite, whipping boys, my favorite pet peeves is potheads, and the drugification of America. And I don't know well, other than they constantly push it on you. This I thought was the funniest thing, maybe funnier than anything else drug related for a while, but there was a marijuana dispensary in Jersey City, New Jersey, which was opened by Ice-T, the former rapper for, I don't know if it was an NWA or whatever, and he was a TV star. Anyway, it's closed after 8 months. How bad is the economy that a ninja can't even sell weed in Jersey City, that he got to close the dispensary? And then there was another one. There was another dispensary that was I think the Wu-Tang Clan guys were involved with, and that closed also. So if a black dude can't even sell weed in 2026, it's bad. Things are not good. But whatever. Things are both lousy and inevitable at the same time. There's so much stuff happening. Can you realize we're only 12 days into 2026 already? Only 12 days in. 12 days. 12 days. This will come as a shock to no one. Iran's currency has officially collapsed to $0. Who could have possibly foreseen that this was going to happen? How could you imagine that Iran's currency would collapse to $0? And what happens when the money dies? Say it with me, kids. What happens when the money dies? The people go insane. See, you could sit there and go, "Oh, the Mossad went in there with," or no. It's not like they're tired of being Shias or Sunnis, or they wish that this was wrong or whatever, or they stopped believing in Allah. They still believe in Allah, but they've been shit on by their leaders for so fucking long that when they get a chance to do anything, even if it's a stupid thing, even if it's something they're going to regret later on, like burning the mosque, they're going to do it. That's what they're going to do. And reasonable voices like this woman here, I'll let it run for a little bit. I'm not going to show the whole video because it's in Farsi, but you can see she's like some Iranian normie housewife trying to make sense of what's going on. And this is what she has to say.
داوکیلی خیلی گرونیه، یعنی اصلا اوضاع اقتصادی کشور افتضاحه، ولی یکی مثل من از ترس اینکه هموطنهای غیورمون نه کشور دو دستی تقدیم آمریکا اسرائیل کنن جرئت نمیکنم اعتراض کنم. صبح توی اکسپلور داشتم میچرخیدم، پست نفتالی بنت رو دیدم، بعد رفتم کامنت ها رو خوندم. یه پسر نوشته بود داداش بیا دیگه یخ کردیم تو خیابون. بچه بلند شو برو خونه‌تون. تو واقعا فکر میکنی اگر آمریکا اسرائیل بیان برای تو آبادی و آزادی ایجاد میکنن؟ تو تاریخ نخوندی؟ ندیدی که با عراق چه کار کرد؟ ندیدی تو
Okay, so what you're saying in Farsi is, hey, listen, I know the economy sucks, but America is not going to come give you a suitcase full of $100 bills. Well, no, America will bring some people a few suitcases full of $100 bills, but most of the people out in the street, then you're not getting a suitcase full of $100 bills. And she knows that. When I mock people, Americans thinking that, you know, when Hitler comes back, we're going to give him all these, I'm going to give Hitler a big pile of Jew bucks, and he's going to give me, you know, Hitler hundreds in return. When I make fun of them, people think I'm being blackpilled, but that's a very real situation right now for the Iranians. Very, very, very real situation. And, you know, there's nothing you can fucking do. Where's, what was the other one I saw? What was the other one I fucking had? What was there? Where was it? Did I not? Did I not put it up? Did I not put it up? How is that even possible, James? Not only do you start the fucking show late, not only do you fucking start the show late, but you don't even have your fucking shit together. Man, that is embarrassing. Man, that is embarrassing. It's just such an embarrassment. But in Venezuela, they had 55 million% inflation in the last 12 years. 55 million% inflation. You know what the people are going to do? They're going to do shit like this. You see that, right? They're going to pull down the statue, that thing that they make you look up to. No, we're not looking up to that anymore. Boom, they're going to pull it down. They pulled down the statues in America a while ago, and they put up George Floyd statues. And that was artificial. They had all the Antifa people out there. There were a couple of cool videos where the Antifa dorks were trying to pull down the fucking statue and fell on top of one of them, which was pretty good. But they ended up having to use state workers to take the statues out of Charlottesville, or the statue, the Robert E. Lee statue out of that park in Charlottesville, and in a few other places. And it had to be done, you know, just with workers and cranes because people weren't willing to do it. What you just saw in Venezuela, when you've lived the last 12 years on the 55 million% inflation, yeah, you're going to party like a rock star, even though it's retarded, because that's not helping them. That's not putting food on their table. It's not putting shoes on their kids' feet. It's not putting a roof over their head. But, you know, there's no waking up. There's no red pilling. People get fucking furious. And when they finally snap, that's the kind of shit they do. That's the kind of shit that they're going to do. So, and people think the answer is very easy, but it's not that fucking easy. I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy because you were born into a world where paper receipts are issued by a central bank and the government forces you to use those paper receipts to buy and sell and trade and do everything. And that's the only world you've ever known. You cannot imagine, you don't know what the world was like before that, and you cannot imagine what the world is going to be like in the future. You don't understand, why can't we go back to the green pieces of paper or whatever color pieces of paper we had 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Why doesn't that work anymore? You don't understand money. you don't understand the power of the money printer and why no set of human beings, whether they look like you or don't look like you, whether they hold the same fucking, believe the same political fairy tales or they don't believe the same political fairy tales, nobody can be trusted with the money printer. Because what the Iranians just did, or what's happening to Iran, and I don't know, is the regime going to fucking survive this? I don't know. Maybe they might. I mean, they might. But they're in fucking trouble, and they made themselves so fucking weak that America, and it's like they're literally falling into America and Israel's hands. You know what I mean? You rob your fucking people every day of their life. You fucking steal from every fucking citizen, every man, woman, and child, right? For generations, and then wonder why they fucking hate you and welcome anyone else in. That's what's happening in Venezuela. It's happening in Iran right now. Again, I don't know if Iran's going to fucking, if it's going to fall, if they're, I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. But mostly they put themselves in that jackpot. You know what I mean? Mostly they put themselves in that jackpot. And the Venezuela thing, listen, Venezuela, there's a bunch of shit about Venezuela that is, I mentioned, oh, fuck, I got to reload fucking already. The fucking phone freezes up. I start fucking 10 minutes fucking late and the fucking phone freezes. What a fucking disaster. If I were you, I would call my cable company and get a refund for how much you paid for this show. Anyway, Virtual Talk, Purple Heart. Welcome to the show, sir. Listen, life on the road has got me spooked. I'm frightened that I'm going to lose money to these fucking speed traps. And not that I'm really speeding because, what did I do this weekend? I did like 950 miles. I'm going too far. Like going faster doesn't help. Once the longer you go, you just need to go at a steady pace. That's what eats up the miles. But occasionally I'll drift over the speed limit, especially like coming back late at night. There's there's no traffic and I'm just sailing along, and I might be doing 75 in the 65 zone, and I don't need to leave half the price of the job and in some fucking bullshit township in Maryland because I was not paying attention to to my speed. That's all. That is all. So I have invested 15 $15 in electronic warfare detection device in order to try to do what? To try to turn my fiat into Bitcoin. Which, by the way, even though there were many threats of many things, Bitcoin continues, just keeps going forward. Florida has introduced a bill to form a Bitcoin reserve. Ladies and gentlemen, Florida has entered the chat. And they said they went, what a sailor, I think I just saw right before I hit go. Sailor just bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And they said they were going to kick him out of the index or whatever. And they were going to do this to his company. And they were going to do that to his company. They did all this big fucking bluff. And Sailor, like I said, the guy's a very flawed individual, but his greed and is working to our advantage, Bitcoin's advantage, the fact that he won't stop. That's what I really, really, really like. And then there's this crazy shit. This is another thing. Like, Venezuela secretly holds 600,000 Bitcoin. Really? I don't know that that's true. That's rumors floating around, not just in things like that, but there was a segment on CNBC with their cryptocurrency chick named Mackenzie Sagalos, who is half Scottish and half Greek. Go figure. So anyway, she was talking about Venezuela and oil and stable coins and Bitcoin.
So there is a second order crypto effect here where since for going back a decade now, my reporting was back in 2017, because of spiraling inflation of the Bolivar, a lot of people had turned to cryptocurrencies, mining Ethereum and Bitcoin in their homes in order to just have a stable source of cash. But the other side of this is the fact that there are multiple reports that the government itself has been looking to evade sanctions by doing sales of oil in Tether, which they then move into Bitcoin. And so much of this market moves on sentiment. So even the promise that perhaps the U.S. government, when they came in, might seize these assets, hold on to it, that's a bull case for Bitcoin if you have a stockpile such as that that isn't being liquidated.
So what's interesting there, and what I think, it seems crazy, like 600,000 Bitcoins, a lot of Bitcoins. And I would think that if the administration had that, they would just announce it. But maybe it's true that they have that much, but we haven't figured out how to get it out of Maduro yet. We got to waterboard him or whatever we got to do. But perhaps the reason why we arrested Maduro as if it was like a cops and robbers kind of thing is because that gives the U.S. federal government the legal right to claim that 600,000 Bitcoins. I don't know, as criminal proceeds, right? Because Bitcoin criminals in the news. Where's those guys? I don't know if you remember these two, but this guy, Ilya Lichtenstein, convicted in the 2016 Bitfinex hack, in which over 119,000 Bitcoin from the exchange has been released early from prison after serving 14 months of the 5-year sentence, and is now on home confinement under the First Steps Act. I got to tell you, that is some real fucking juice, because federal time, you're supposed to do 80%. He got 5 years, supposed to do fucking 80% of that, but he's out in 14 months. That is a lot of fucking horsepower behind that. But we know that the current White House so heavily favors Israel, they'll like literally do anything. The title of tonight's stream, Vanilla ISIS, something I saw somewhere else as a tongue-in-cheek thing, but we now have we got those masked gunmen running around shooting American citizens in the face in broad daylight on video, and the guy who does that gets to go home and sleep in his bed tonight. He goes like that. You have masked gunmen doing extrajudicial killings, in broad daylight on video in America, and then they get to go home and sleep in their own bed. That's, what do you call that? What do you call that? Because that's, and this, by the way, this is the everybody who wants to burn the Constitution. Democracy sucks. I fucking hate it. Squads like this, and this squad has, been going around doing this for a long time. You can go, well, I didn't like her because she was a lesbian and she had sex with a Negro, or whatever bootlicker fucking rationalizations you come up with. They'll be coming for you too soon. You know what I mean? They'll be coming for you. That will most definitely be happening. So I don't know. I don't know that Venezuela really has 600,000 Bitcoins. It would be a good reason to go down there and take this guy out. It certainly would serve Israel's interest, but it would serve the U.S. federal government's interest. And then it would give the U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve would be the largest strategic Bitcoin, would be the largest amount of Bitcoin. If Venezuela has 600K, add that to the roughly 275,000 Bitcoin that America currently holds from as proceeds from criminal prosecutions, that would put America on top. But it's still a wild rumor. I don't know that it's happening. Don't know that it's happening. Right next door to Iran is a country called Syria. And Syria's currency swap has begun. They've got all new pieces of paper in Syria, and the people of Syria are going to work their asses off for these new cookbooks that they're going to buy and sell, falafel and shawarma and hajibs in this new currency. We'll see how that works out, but we know how this ends. You know how this fucking story ends. It always ends the same way. It might start out, happy now, but I doubt that the new Syrian, whatever it's going to be called, I don't even know what they call that currency over there, dinar. What do they call them? Or whatever they're going to call it. I doubt it's going to be very good for the Syrian people, although it's probably better than a stack of fucking bills this high to go get a cup of coffee. Probably better than that. But yeah, you're going to be told, here, use this now. Use this and you just go along with it, because what's your alternative? What is your alternative? In the meantime, the reason why the Venezuelan Bitcoin thing becomes interesting, if it's true, big if true, as they say, is a panel of economic luminaries said in the long run, risks posed by mounting federal debt represented a paramount problem facing the U.S. economy. Yeah, I think we're at 38.5 trillion now. 38.5 trillion cookbooks. That's a lot of cookbooks, kids. That is a lot. And when whether they got to get the stable coin thing going, and you got to export these digital dollars around the world to try and keep the dollar alive, because if we actually have to try to repay that $38 trillion, we're going to end up like Syria or Iran or Venezuela real fucking soon, and you're not going to like that. You are not going to like it at fucking all. Not at all. In the meantime, what do we got? I swear this woman's running for president. You're going to tell me, no, James, she's not running for president. But I say she's running for president. I don't know if you've seen this video. It just popped out of nowhere. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is 100% she's running for president.
What do you think about paddleboarding?
Oh, I love it. First thing in the morning is my favorite. And the water was a little choppy today, but it wasn't bad at all. It's really beautiful.
Marjorie Taylor Greene looking like the MILF in chief, or the cougar in chief, or whatever. It seems so like, that just seems like she's running for president to me. She says she's not, but I really think she is. And if you could, when I showed 3 weeks ago, Eric Adams, the guy who lost the mayoral race to Mamdani, who put a transgender person in charge of the budget, because that's what radical Muslims do. But one of the things, like when Adams was losing, he was like, he went somewhere, he was bench pressing, right? And it was like, look how much Eric Adams can bench press, more than Mamdani can bench press. And then Mamdani did something where the first thing he did as soon as he got elected, there's like a pothole at the end of the fucking Williamsburg Bridge or some shit like that, which people on bicycles would hit the pothole and they were annoyed by it. And so he sends a crew out there to fill the pothole with asphalt. And sure enough, there's Mamdani himself with the shovel, and he takes a shovel, puts it in the hot asphalt, and then dumps it on the pile there and tamps it down, because he's going to show like he's the blue-collar working Muslim who appoints transgenders to high office in New York City. But these old, diseased, dying fucking leaders, people are really noticing that like a lot. And so when Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, hey, I'm Marjorie Taylor Greene, check me out, I'm paddleboarding in Hawaii, look how healthy and fit I look. I don't think that's by accident. That's not the way you normally see her. And then she was appeared in other ways, much more clothed, but a lot softer looking. I see different video of her. She's talking about this or that. She was in like a Christmas sweater or something. So very carefully cultivated look, very carefully cultivated imagery. But when she's paddleboarding, it's like, I'm not a diseased old man. I'm not croaking. I'm not dying like fucking, what's his name? Donald Trump. Where's Donald Trump dying? Here he is. Here's another Donald Trump dying video.
I know you don't want to, but I'm gonna show you anyways. This guy is not doing so good. He is slurring. He said that they were ready for a second wave like 5 times in a row. He didn't look good. He looked swollen. He looked tired, but he also looked skinny in the face. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just gonna show you the clip so that you can all see what I'm talking about.
We are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave, and we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave.
That wasn't even the worst of it. There were moments of him slurring.
Okay, that slurring is actually someone else did a different video on this. Because some part of his brain is dying, the automatic swallow reflex that we all have, apparently swallowing is like breathing. You do it like, well, you do it hundreds of times a day. You just swallow. And when some part of your brain stops working, you don't automatically swallow. So you don't automatically close off your airway or swallow saliva that your mouth is producing. So he's got his head down, saliva is running. He can feel it running to the front of his mouth, but his brain is not automatically swallowing when his head is down, so he can keep speaking. So that's why he's slurring, and it sounds like he's drunk or there's excess fluid in his mouth. It's just that his brain is not telling his tongue to do what his tongue is supposed to do, which is automatically swallow. And he can't do that because his brain is falling apart. Right. And that's, and then the chick goes on, blah, blah. The problem with all these people analyzing the Trump health thing is they're so deeply invested in hating the guy on a personal level that it really undercuts their message. It really, really undercuts their message. But understand that the one of the biggest events of 2026 is going to be surrounded Donald Trump. And I like this has me focused on it in a way like, I said it before that MMA, the UFC is the road to the fucking White House. That's why Zuckerberg's there. That's why Trump goes to all these fights. That is why, that's that. And this has been this way since Ogrish years. But the excitement around the UFC White House event where they're literally tearing the fucking White House apart to do one fucking MMA event, right? To bring 100,000 people onto the fucking White House lawn. It's a much bigger deal than you think.
What is coming up in 2026? It's the White House. That's right. On Mr. Trump's birthday, he will be hosting a party. Yeah, I know it's to celebrate, obviously, Independence Day, which is a little bit later on, but this is going to take place in June, we are told. 5,000 people, cage side. 100,000 people on site. I don't know where that site's going to be because that's going to be very, very hard to manage. But that's what we're getting told. And we're also getting told all championship fights. That's come from the main man himself. Not Dana White. Donald Trump. Yeah. All championship fights. That's what he's demanding. Right then. Do you think, Mike, that there will be some curveballs with the matchmaking? Do you think we will see maybe someone come out of retirement or a legend return or something like that just to add a little bit of extra gravitas to this quite unique event?
It's a very unique event, and it is crazy to think that this is even going ahead. And this is a sign of, yet again, the sport just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, of course, Donald Trump and Dana White have a long time pre-existing relationship, so that plays a factor into it. But just look at where we're at. You know, it used to be, it wasn't even allowed on pay-per-view. Then it was Spike TV. Then it was Fox. Then it was ESPN. Now it's Paramount. Now people in America, the largest market, don't have to pay for the fights. The audience and the fan base is going to get bigger and bigger. There's more money involved in the sport, massively more exposure, newer fans, bigger deals, more sponsorships, and fights at the White House, and every single event is going to be a title fight event. Now, your question, the big retired person that wanted to come back was John Jones, wanted to fight Alex Pereira. Pereira showed a lot of interest in that. Late December, Pereira came out and put a little tweet out, said, I won't be fighting at the White House. Okay, so I don't know what to make of that. However, you got to think maybe that's on the side of John Jones, because Dana White said he wasn't really didn't know if he could trust him to show up.
All right, well, whatever. That's inside baseball. John Jones is the black heavyweight champion who failed every drug test, whether it was cocaine, like cocaine-related drug test or steroid drug test. And he's famous for poking his opponents in the eyes and kicking them in the balls and hitting them in the back of the head. All three of which moves are fouls, but they let him get away with it his entire career. And, as he's the super Negro, he's the ninja of ninjas and the greatest heavyweight, blah, 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 ever. It's all fucking bullshit. But the UFC White House is a very big deal. It's all championship fights. This entire, organization is being reorganized for this one event. And they said, that it's not going to be a pay-per-view way to view it anymore online, to watch the fights. It's going to be on Paramount. Paramount is owned by Larry Ellison's son, or whatever Larry Ellison's son's name is. And Larry Ellison is the CEO of Oracle. Oracle is a software company that is directly tied to the CIA. So and pro-Israel causes. The current owner of the UFC is in fact an Israeli, and will permit fighters to walk into the cage with flags on their back. Every flag except, of course, one flag, that being the Palestinian flag. And all the fighters, listen, these guys are desperate. They're starving. They're trying to get, most of them are broke for their entire lives and their entire careers. And they end up, like old boxers, broken and fucking in a corner somewhere. But the few that make it to the tippy top make it, become set for life. And the competition to do that is pretty sharp, pretty intense. And they will do anything. They will do anything to get the opportunity to fight at the White House. And if they win that championship fight at the White House, man, it cements their fucking, they'll get endorsement deals, they'll get all kinds of shit beyond the UFC. So they will tolerate any fucking shenanigans that are thrown their way. And if John Jones wants to if they say like, well, John Jones is going to fight, Jones can come in fucking snorting. He could walk in like Trump did, but he could be snorting a fucking 8-ball and they'll just let it go. You know what I mean? He could be snorting an 8-ball and somebody could be shooting a syringe full of fucking, testosterone into his fucking, into his left butt cheek, and they're still going to let him fight. So, and the reason I tell people, watch the movie Gladiator for the politics of it. It's so fucking important. When in the Gladiator film, you have Richard Harris, who plays the aging emperor. He's in his purple hoodie on the horse, and he's watching the assault on the crazy Germanic dudes in the fucking woods. And and then he dies, and of course Joaquin Phoenix takes over. But that aging fucking ruler who's dying in front of your fucking eyes, and the truth just going nuts. And the echoes of this, the parallels are so fucking strong. It's crazy fun to watch. Crazy fun to watch. However, there's a downside. There's a lot of downsides, but when America becomes an entire country of degenerate gamblers, and America will become an entire country of degenerate gamblers, it's going to get wilder and more violent. And this kid, who's a Jersey kid who was addicted to gambling at fucking 17 years old, points out some really fucking unpleasant facts, although he's looking at it from a different perspective.
Who would have ever thought that legalizing gambling, pushing it constantly to everyone and getting everyone to go absolutely broke chasing after quick riches would lead to people being mad? Gambling addiction is on the rise in the United States and around the world, and as we continue to legalize it, tell people it's normal and tell people it's a great, profitable thing to do, without ever mentioning that it's an addictive product that is designed to keep you hooked and bleed you dry, we're going to keep seeing more headlines like this.
So I don't know if you could read the text, but on game day, on championship game day, when the home team loses, violent crime surges 70%. And you'll see that everywhere. So there's always going to be, when they have the circuses, the circus part of the bread and circuses, and the home team loses, it's going to cause riots everywhere. And this is going to be around the world because, like that kid said, and like I've shown before, the Australians are hooked on gambling, all sorts of people hooked on gambling, and broke, desperate people do stupid shit. And whether the government made you broke or, you participated in it yourself with a gambling addiction, the result is going to be the same. The result will ultimately be the same. And it's only people with a lot of fucking resources that are capable of resisting these fucking games. There's a dude, he was running for Congress, and Trump loved him until he started speaking out against that small country in the Middle East that's not a democracy. Matt Gaetz, he was in Congress or was running for Congress. I never saw this. I didn't know that they did this to him. I just knew that Trump didn't like him and they dropped him like a hot potato. But apparently, Matt Gaetz was the victim of a blackmail scheme.
It was an opt to silence me, and Israel was involved.
So this is the charge that you were trafficking underage girls.
Absurd. My father, who's a prominent person in our community, got outreach from someone he had never met that said that there were pictures and images of me with underage prostitutes, and my dad needed to meet with these people right away. My dad goes and talks to these people and says, "What in the world are you talking about?" And they said, "We need $25 million from you to go and rescue a spy that is being held in Iran. And if you do that, we can make these things about your son go away." We did what any reasonable people would do. We went to the FBI and said that we were being extorted by these folks with their false claims. And we later learned that this consulate official working for the Israeli government was sending text messages saying they were expecting my father to furnish this $25 million payment, and that would be evidence of my consciousness of guilt.
So they accuse you of what they do themselves, right? They accuse you of doing the thing that they do themselves. By the way, the $25 million for a spy that was captured by Iran, that's a story from I think it was the fucking late 80s, early 90s. A retired FBI guy thought he was going to play like James Bond, and took a job as a contractor for whatever fucking, I don't know, some to go over to Iran to see what the Iranians were doing. And he went to some island off the coast of Iran that's known for smuggling and criminality. And he went in there, and of course he didn't speak Farsi. Just some fucking dopey FBI jerk who thinks he can do this. He goes into this like island full of criminals and never comes back. And they don't know if he's in prison or if he died in prison or if he's alive or dead or whatever. But, whether he's alive or dead, what the fuck does that have to do with Matt Gaetz? And why do they need $25 million of his family's money to rescue him? Right? So they're putting together this crazy shakedown scheme where they accuse you of being a pedo. They're going to, if you have resources that they can extract from you, and they'll give you some, some bullshit national security reason. But, you know, the, what's his name? Donald Barr, you know, the guy, the former OSS officer who gave Jeffrey Epstein his first job at an exclusive school in Manhattan called the Dalton School, and who wrote a science fiction novel called Space Relations about a planet ruled by oligarchs who traffic in underage children, who rape underage children, and they rule the planet. Yeah, that, you know, that science fiction novel is kind of what you're living through, and it presents, and things like this pop out all the time. Things like this pop out all the time, and the phone fucking froze up again. But we did, listen, we did pretty good before we froze up. So let's let us reload and then continue. But listen, this is the world you live in, and you know, and being able to tell what's fucking happening is going to be really, really, really fucking hard. And navigating the fucking insane landscape. I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, part of the reason why the ghetto is so insane, why the behavior of the ghetto is so crazy, is because there's no money in the ghetto. Other than what the federal government pumps in with EBT and Section 8 and all the rest. There's no money in the ghetto, right? Because of the way blacks behave. They steal everything from everybody, and you can't have any sort of civilized life because you can't keep a store open because it's constantly like 24/7 shoplifting. You know what I mean? You can't have anything nice because someone's going to ruin it. Someone's going to try and steal it and sell it for money or whatever. And the only cash that comes into the ghetto is dope, stolen goods, and prostitution. And the behavior you see there is extreme, and that is going to be exported throughout the rest of America, whether you like it or not. And you know, there's not much you can do to stop it, because the government, the money printer, will go burr, and you know, even though we'll be exporting as much inflation as we can overseas, they will still affect Americans. And then, of course, you have the predatory gambling apps on your little Jewish spy device that you walk around with, constantly draining what little resources you have away from you, promising you an escape from that same misery, right? And in the meantime, what's going on? In the meantime, China, our friends in China are not slowing down at all. The Jiangsu nuclear plant phase 1 is complete. China's Jiangsu nuclear power plant's second unit is now operating, completing phase 1 of what is said to be the world's largest, whatever, just boost Chinese energy. Okay, so China building nuclear power plants left and right, and America desperately trying to fucking catch up. The U.S. Department of Energy investing $2.7 billion in 3 companies, including 2 in Oak Ridge, for domestic uranium enrichment, because AI, you know, is the future. All those empty fucking office towers in New York and St. Louis, buildings that were worth $300 and $400 million and are now worth $3 or $4 million, if that. Nobody's going back to the office. Like I said, the dream of getting a good education and getting a Fortune 500 job and getting the corner office and being a vice president is gone. It's been replaced by a couchy bet about, you know, will there be 2 donkeys fighting over an apple on the fucking on the TV tonight? You know, that's the fucking, you know, that's going to be the future all the time. And if you cry about it, everyone's going to laugh at you. They're literally going to laugh at you. And in the meantime, we are now, man, we are like, I think at this point, we're fucking unstoppable with certain things. I keep going back to this Venezuela thing. Somebody was saying that Maduro's bodyguards were all Cuban, like he didn't even trust his own people. But and that an enormous quantity of his security was killed in this raid. And the way it was done, is with super weapons like this.
It sounds a lot like something this reporter got hit with at Quantico in this piece from 2013. The military says the active denial system is not radioactive, it's not a microwave, and it's not a laser beam. It's instead a man-sized beam of millimeter waves that can be fired from up to 1,000 meters away that are designed to get the subject, whoever's standing on this X, really, really hot so that they move. And it's about 50 degrees out here right now, but I just felt like it was about 1,000. And I've never been inside a tub that somebody dropped a hairdryer in, but I would imagine that that's what it feels like.
Okay, so the military's been fucking around with this shit for a while. There are like vibrations and stuff that can make you vomit. I was at an air show once where there was like a jet car. They put a jet engine on a car, and when the guy would dump fuel into the motor while it was the jet engine while it was running, there was like a pulse, like a sound wave that would hit you in the lower belly. It was very weird, and even the announcer at the air show was talking about that effect. So the military's been fucking around with this non-lethal shit for a long time. Apparently, they have a heat ray like that guy just showed, but they also had something which would make people vomit, like what I sort of felt like at the air show, but it was something they would put on the back of a Humvee, a big flat piece of metal, and they would turn it on, and it would make people like puke from fucking hundreds of yards away. The problem is, it would make the soldiers using the weapon just as sick as the people they were aiming it against. But whatever that shit is, whatever it is, they have been playing around with this for a long time, and at this point, they may have perfected it. And here's a dude talking about what happened right before fucking Delta Force went in.
A security guard that was protecting Maduro has spoken, and you got to hear what he said. It's in Spanish, but I'll translate. Also, Trump announced that, the cartels, they're going after him in Mexico. The whole vibe of Latin America has changed because of what happened in Venezuela. And now that we're getting first-hand accounts from people that were there, the soldier says they didn't hear him coming. He says the Americans had technology superior to anything they've ever seen. Everything that they were using for radar, for anything, was completely taken offline. They had drones, and the drones were taking out bases and taking out things faster. They didn't have no technology. They've never had to fight against drones. He also talks about that there was only 8 helicopters. There was only 20 men that were sent in. And those 20 men killed hundreds of their men. And none of those soldiers were injured. He talks about it felt like they were firing 300 rounds a minute. Nothing they've ever seen. Nothing that they can compete with. And then he also talks to the fact that the Americans had some kind of sonic shock boom that was sent out, and everybody immediately started bleeding profusely out of their nose. They couldn't even gather themselves because whatever was sent at them made them fall to their knees and vomit blood out of their mouth and out of their noses. They were incapacitated immediately. He says he never wants to go through that again, doesn't want to have to fight with the Americans again. He's sending warnings to everybody out there that you think you can fight the Americans. You don't even know what their weaponry is like and what they're capable of. 20 men took out hundreds, and that's starting to spread all through Latin America. And now they're not saying, if you want me, come and get me anymore. They're like, oh shit. Especially after Trump says, hey, Mexico, you're on the list too.
So I don't know that we're going to do that to Mexico, but it would seem that Delta Force has something which can make you vomit blood and fall to your knees. And that's what they hit you with before they come and shoot you in the face. So 20 guys took out 200 fucking Venezuelans and Cubans, 10-1. Yeah, probably. And they probably could have done more, except there were only 200 guys to kill. So when I tell you you're not going to fight against this, you're not going to fight against this. right? When they tell you that directly challenging federal power is fucking suicidal, I'm not kidding you, right? I'm not kidding you. So, and when you listen to motherfuckers like Nick Fuentes, you're gonna be led down the fucking garden path to a place you may not come back from. Having drinks with Laura Loomer. If that doesn't say Fed, I don't know what does. I don't know what does. Some of it, him being the IDF uniform. Okay, that was clearly show me the AI version, as they say. Oh, really? Show me the AI version. But you need to be smarter. You need to understand that the source of all their power is the money printer, and they're gonna fuck it up. I don't care who it is. I don't care what you think they believe or don't believe. They're going to fuck it up invariably, and you can be prepared or you cannot be prepared. But that's your choice. And by prepared, I mean you can trade your fucking government cut bucks for something they don't own, they can't stop, and they can't control, because you don't want to be delusional. I got this in the fucking piece of video. It's 9 seconds long, and I looked at it and I thought, this is how fucking delusional so many people are. Like, you're thinking, oh, we're going to use, and I mocked this. I was doing this last week. We're going to use Jewish money and Jewish organizations and Jewish technology, or Jewish dominated technology, to defeat the Jew. And you think, oh, you're just being a straw man and you're just beating up on us. Let me tell you, you are fucking delusional. But you're not alone in your delusion. You've got like a red team delusion, but there's blue team delusion as well. And this is a 10-second clip from some movie from Eastern Europe. I don't know where the fuck it's from, but it is so comically fucking deranged that, this is where I do it. I just throw up my fucking hands. We're going to use communism, which the Jews invented, to defeat the Jews. And then you hear the Russian music in the background. Yeah, how did that work out for you, boys? How'd that work out? How'd that work out for you? That's how delusional. And somebody made a whole movie about that. Like, I don't know if that's a Russian state fucking propaganda film or what, but you could not be less aware. You could not be less self-aware than that. Like, you could, and it's crazy. I say all this stupid shit. I say all this fucking dumb stuff. And then, a week later, I stumble across something like that, which is almost exactly exactly what I was mocking. A week earlier. And this is an older clip, but and one we all knew. Did we all know this? Don't we all know this? This is fucking what normies think is a big secret, or a big truth teller. But here's the real secret.
You didn't see this one coming.
From your perspective, should the Jews be gotten rid of?
Yes, they should. In every country.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. I am Jewish.
Oh, well.
Who could have guessed? Alex Jones shilling for Team Hebrew because he was born to Team Hebrew. I think they say his second wife was Jewish. I don't know, but the first one. But that was that. And then what else? We got a few things. We're getting near the end. We're at 55 minutes anyway. What was the thing I saw? I didn't get that video, but Erica Kirk was in the CIA. She was in a CIA video for whatever, like trying to scare Congress into giving whatever fucking company, probably her mom's company, money to harden the electrical grid against an EMP. And literally, she said, like they said, an EMP could come from the sun. So, like, from my point of view, you got this Zogbot saying, Congress, give us more money because the sun might blow up. What if the sun blows up? That's and I'm sure they got it. I'm sure, but it's like the video floating around. I'm sure you could find it. But she's, the spokesperson for why we need to harden the grid against electrical this and that. And this was from some years ago. But yeah, it's, dude, like you aren't escaping this, and you're not going to fight it head on. So what you can do is subvert it, right? Subvert the source of their power, which is the fucking money printer. That's the only thing you can do. That's the only rational thing you can do, because if you don't do that, you're going to end up getting caught up in some stupid shit. And where is it? Like, listen, this shit's been going on for a long time. This guy, the Minnesota thing where where masked gunmen are murdering American citizens in broad daylight. That's just an escalation of something that's been going on for at least 10 years.
Well, that was quick. I asked if someone could find the report, and they did. What are we talking about? The internal report produced by Customs and Border Patrol, which stated that U.S. border agents were intentionally stepping in front of moving vehicles to justify shooting at them. This article came out in 2014. It was based on a report that I couldn't find, but fortunately someone else found it for me, my good friend Victoria. And here is the report from CBP. And right here on page 8, they found that Border Patrol agents were intentionally stepping in front of vehicles to create justification to shoot the people inside. Most reviewed cases involved nonviolent suspects who posed no threat other than a moving vehicle. It states they were doing this out of frustration. Once again, Jonathan Ross, the man who shot the woman in Minneapolis, was a part of CBP during those years. He was there when that was happening. I will leave a link to that in the comments so you can read it for yourself. Thanks.
Yeah, by the way, that guy that shot the woman, not only did he go home and sleep in his bed, but he's a 10-year veteran. He was a firearms instructor. He was a lethal force instructor. And if you're making excuses like, I didn't like her, and she wore a big hat, and then she had sex with a Negro, and she drove a Honda, or whatever bootlicker rationalization fucking pops into your head, or if the people around you start going, well, she this, or you should have done that, just understand that's the bootlicker in you coming out. And if you want to live life as a bootlicker, go ahead and live life as a bootlicker. But there are people who believed in America and put their money where their mouth is, that are now having to learn some very bitter lessons. This is a longer video, almost 3 minutes, but this guy is not fucking happy.
Some bootlickers saw my video about how we had ROE in Afghanistan, but for some reason these cosplayers wearing jungle camo in an urban environment don't, and are saying, oh, well, you just don't understand. The conditions in America are just so very, very dangerous. Yeah, I was a paramedic here in the States. I responded to stabbings and shootings. I had a guy who was shot 27 times. And if you didn't know, that's too many fucking times. I've had guys on PCP who ripped the doors off cop cars in my care. And you know what I never did at any point in my entire paramedic career? Shoot somebody in the face. Because paramedics don't carry guns. Yeah, we're forced to de-escalate every situation we're in. Did a couple guys ride the needle because they needed to be medically sedated? Yeah, they sure did. And you know how we got them that way? We fucking jumped on them and held them down. Because sometimes the cops just wouldn't come to the call, even though we desperately needed the support. I had weapons pulled on me because I started wearing a paramedic badge after my partner was killed by a drunk driver as a way to like honor him. And that looked too much like a cop. And that pissed a lot of people off. Because if you didn't know, Americans fucking hate the police because they keep on killing them. So don't bring that fucking smoke my way. I survived Afghanistan, which was far more dangerous. Not a single goddamn American had Carl fucking Gustavs pointed at us. I've never experienced a complex ambush in the goddamn States. I saw a lot more fucking shootings, that's for sure. And I'll tell you what I learned in Afghanistan. Small arms fire is a hell of a lot less terrifying than fucking bombs. Most small fire rounds miss. Bombs don't. Because like the saying goes, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. And yeah, I was in front of a bunch of vehicles as they tried to move hither and yon, especially with people who were on all sorts of drugs. And you know what I fucking did? I got out of the way. I took my little feetsies and I stepped away from the fucking slow-moving vehicle. I've also been hit by a vehicle trying to get around me, and I didn't shoot that person in the face because I'm not a fuck-ass coward who was looking for a reason to shoot somebody. I didn't have my cell phone out while I recorded the murder I was going on about. He didn't drop the phone, by the way, and didn't require medical attention when it was all over. Oh my gosh, how much danger he was in. I just could not understand. I have been in 1,000 situations that were more dangerous than the one that little bitch was in. And at no point in my entire career did I ever unload 3 rounds into an unarmed woman. And none of my partners did, and not a single goddamn one of the infantry that I was medically in charge of did either. The only person who would think that that was a necessary escalation of force is a fucking coward, a monster, or both.
And now, son, you understand what you went to Afghanistan to fight for. The same people that sent you there to fucking keep the pedophiles and the fucking opium farmers in business are now running death squads in America. And so it's going to be for a guy like that, you know, who, whatever, man, he signed up. He was a medic in the, you know, a combat medic. And to think what he did, and then he comes home and has to see this, you know, he's questioning, why the fuck did I do what I did? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? You know, bitter fucking pill for a guy who put his money where his mouth is. You know what I mean? He lived the values that he espoused, and now he finds out that the people in charge just want fucking monsters. They just want armed fucking mass tyrants, vanilla ISIS, and not all white guys. They run around and kill whoever, whenever, and they're gonna get away with it 100%. You know, they're 100% gonna get away with it. They're gonna get away with it. Gonna get away with it, right? FBI's inquiry into ICE shooting faces doubts after White House remarks. Ex-law enforcement officials said the administration's declaration that the killing was justified elicited questions about the FBI, blah, 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 blah. Dudes, they don't have any fucking authority over you. They have authority over immigrants, right? Over people trying to get in. They don't have authority over American citizens. But they can kill them and get away with it. So, you know, is it legal or isn't it illegal? Let's ask the White House. You want to live in a post-constitutional world? You want to see what the world's going to look like after the fucking Constitution is burned? Because let's be honest, the Constitution's on its last legs. It's going to look like this. And when you might be sitting there thinking, well, that's not so bad, because it's not close to you and it didn't happen to you yet. Didn't happen to you yet. So you should keep that in mind. You should keep that in mind, that this is the fucking planet you fucking live on. Like it or not, that's the planet you live on. And there's only one way out. There's only one way out, which is to control the money. Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws. So as long as you play that game, you're going to lose. You don't have to do that. You could choose to do that, but you don't have to do that. The other thing, of course, that you have great choice in, you have the choice to smash up the like button. I noticed on Rumble, I got something like 75 views or something like that, some huge number of views and one like. What is wrong with you, Rumble people? Don't you know that I'm an emotionally sensitive person that needs feedback? I made a joke on fucking Instagram. I got 2,700 likes in 24 hours. That's the kind of feedback that I deserve. But when I'm doing my anti-Semitisms, when I'm doing my racisms, a couple of fucking, clicks on the like button. Can you help a ninja out? Can you just help a ninja out? Anyway, with that, I would say to Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, and everyone who's probably watching, watch, I can't see all the numbers, but I know there's a couple of lurkers here on YouTube. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and I'll talk to you again next week.